So what happened there then? Obviously I've had a bit of an issue out on the Street Triple where I couldn't turn right because my steering was completely jammed. Now I believe this is an issue across all Street Triples from the Gen 1 to Gen 3, and it's only a potential issue if you've removed these bolts for doing any maintenance. Now one particular bolt had worked itself loose, which is around the steering of my motorbike. It's the one that retains the cables that go up to the speedo. It got completely jammed against the fork, and as I went to turn right, there was absolutely no movement from the steering. It was jammed. Now in this video I'm going to share with you what happened, why it happened, and a super simple fix to get this sorted out. Full disclaimer, I'm not a mechanic. I got a bit of advice from my mechanic and just used my initiative to get this fixed, as it's just 4 bolts and it's something that I thought I could do myself. I've also shared this on a Facebook page, Triumph Street Triple UK, and it seems that there's plenty of other people out there who've encountered this issue, ranging from consequences of crashing on track through to dropping their bike in a petrol forecourt. So it's definitely worth checking these bolts, even if you just give them a once over, make sure they're tightened up. So let's jump into it and I'll see you out on the bike. So as you can see, I'm coming down this hill and I'm just about to wait for this bike and silver car to pass so I can turn right into this side road, and the steering's jammed. A bit worrying this. What happened there? So here's a crude drawing of a top-down view of your motorcycle. Here's the top yoke, handlebars, and fuel tank. And the whole design of the bike is that when you input into your steering, it pivots around your head bearing. Now here are the lock stops that stop the steering at their natural point. There's a cable that runs from under the bike to your speedo. And there's a bracket retained by 2 bolts, either side, that manage the cables. This was the culprit, and this was what caused my issue. So all you're going to need to do this super simple repair on your bike is a 8mm socket set, some acetone or nail varnish remover, a cotton bud, some wire brushes, and red Loctite. So the issue, I don't know if you can see very well, is these bolts in here. So as you turn the steering, that bottom bolt is fouling on the fork. So we need to sort that out. And if we come around to the other side of the bike and look where the lock stop is in here, you can see that that is where the steering's stopping. Absolutely nowhere near the lock stop. My plan is to remove the bolts, clean up all the Loctite off the bolts, and refit them with some red Loctite. You see that bolt's coming out really easily. That was the actual culprit. You can see that bolt is actually bent, which is not ideal. I'll have to get a new one of those. At least that one's nice and tight. So we have the 2 bolts. This piece now comes away. Using the acetone and the cotton bud. Clean out these threads. The bolts are going to go into this little tub and soak them in acetone. We'll give them a clean up in a minute. And a new toy I bought earlier wire brush set. So I'm going to use the smallest of the bunch, which I believe is this one. I'm just going to get in there and clean out all of the old residue of the Loctite. Get it all out. Seems there's a bit of Loctite residue on there, so that's good. And the bottom one. I give these screws a good clean up with something abrasive. Get all the red Loctite residue out of this bolt. As you can see, this bolt is bent because I really tried to force it to turn the corner. So now we've cleaned up our bolts and we're ready to refit them. I'm just going to let them dry before I apply a small bit of Loctite before refitting them. Apply a small amount of thread lock onto the bolt. Do the same with the other bolt. Make sure they're tightened up nice and tight. I was chatting to my mechanic the other day and he said, as tight as you think feels good, pull that a little bit. That's about there for me. So now the steering should move freely. And that's the last check you want to do. Make sure your steering moves nice and freely and that you've not trapped any of these cables. I obviously want to do the same with the other side, which is identical. Just do the same again on the right hand side of the bike. So hopefully this video has been informative. As I say, I couldn't forgive myself if I didn't share this with you, and hopefully this video might save just one spill or embarrassing moment at a petrol forecourt or at a bike meet. If you've got any questions, please leave them in the comments box below. I promise I'll get back to every one of you. I'm a growing channel, so I've got the time to answer every question that drops down in the comments box below. Please, if you've enjoyed this video, give it a like, and if you're new to the channel, please do consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.